All right, let's talk about something that seems so simple on the surface, but has completely turned the world of cricket on its head. We're diving into the IPL's four-foreigner rule. It sounds basic, right? But believe me, its impact is anything but.
So, you gotta ask yourself, how on earth can just 4 players per team change an entire sport? It sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? But that's exactly what we're gonna unpack. This one rule is kind of the secret sauce to the IPL's wild success and, the root of some of its biggest headaches. Okay, so here's the rule in a nutshell. On any given match day, a team can have a maximum of 4 overseas players in their lineup. The other 7, they've got to be Indian cricketers. The whole idea was to create this perfect mix, right? Nurture homegrown talent while still bringing in the biggest international stars to light up the league. It creates this fascinating dynamic in every single game. And wow, did it have an impact right out of the gate? I mean, we're talking about the very first IPL match ever. New Zealand's Brendan McCullum goes out there and just smashes an absolutely mind-blowing 158 not out. People called it a fairy tale start, and it was. That one innings from one foreign player didn't just win a match. It basically sent a signal to the entire world. Pay attention, this is going to be huge. So, what was the first big thing this rule did? Well, it basically turned the IPL into this incredible global melting pot for cricket. Think about it. For the very first time, the best players in the world weren't just squaring off against each other in international matches. Now, they were in the same dressing rooms, training together, and playing on the same team. And that created this amazing environment where all these different cricketing cultures just collided. You'd have that classic Australian grit next to that incredible West Indian flair, mixed with South African discipline, all in one spot. Players started sharing secrets, different ways of thinking about the game. It was this massive cross-pollination that just made everyone better. And this quote right here, it really nails the kind of mentorship that just started popping up all over the league. It's talking about maybe the most famous example of this, the partnership between the Sri Lankan legend Lasith Malinga and a young, up-and-coming Indian bowler named Jasprit Bumrah. And the effect of that mentorship was, well, it was absolutely game-changing. Bumrah started his IPL journey at the Mumbai Indians, right alongside Malinga. By the time Malinga hung up his boots, Bumrah had transformed into, you could argue, the best multi-format bowler on the planet. I mean, learning from a master like that, in that kind of high-stakes environment, that's an education you just can't get anywhere else. And oh man, the list of overseas legends who basically built this league is just insane. You had Chris Gale, the universe boss, completely rewriting the book on power hitting. You had A.B. de Villiers, Mr. 360, who could literally hit a 6 off any ball to any part of the ground. Malinga with those toe-crushing Yorkers. And of course, the tactical brain of Shane Warne. These guys weren't just great players, they were entertainers, global icons who made you drop everything to watch. But here's the other side of the coin. It wasn't just about the big-name stars. The IPL also became, without a doubt, the single biggest launchpad for undiscovered talent in the entire sport. You have to remember, before the IPL, a really talented kid playing domestic cricket could grind away for years and maybe never get a real shot. The IPL just blew that whole system up. Suddenly, there was this massive global stage where a player from a tiny town in India or a guy from a smaller cricket nation could become a superstar, like overnight. It turned into this incredible talent factory with a few different production lines. First, you have your domestic Indian players like Rinku Singh, who went from basically unknown to playing for India. Then you have players from emerging nations like Rashid Khan from Afghanistan, who became one of the most sought-after players in the world. And it even worked for young overseas guys. A young David Warner, for example, really made a name for himself here and got the attention of the Australian selectors.
And the teams have gotten so good at this. They've turned scouting into a science. Take the Mumbai Indians model, for instance. It's not something they do for a few weeks before the auction. It's a 365-day-a-year job. They're watching everything, local leagues, youth tournaments, using analytics and on-the-ground spotters to find the next big thing. Then they bring them in for special trials and snap them up in the draft. It really is a factory for producing cricket stars. Okay, so everything sounds great so far, right? But with all this success, with all this money and fame, a huge conflict has started to bubble up. And it's a conflict that now pretty much dominates every conversation about the future of cricket. The age-old battle of club versus country. And this really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Has all this success come at a cost? Because the IPL has become this massive sun in the cricketing solar system, and its gravitational pull is so strong that it's starting to warp the entire calendar, creating some serious problems for the traditional international game.
Just take a look at the schedule for 2025. It's a perfect storm. The IPL playoffs kick off on May 29th. On that exact same day, England is starting an ODI series, and Australia is supposed to start their prep for the World Test Championship final. Then you have the IPL final on June 3rd, and the WTC final, the biggest prize in Test cricket, just a few days later. The players are literally caught right in the middle. Where are they supposed to be? And then there's the money. That makes the choice even tougher. A top-tier IPL contract, like the one Mitchell Starc got for almost $3 million, can be more than a player from a smaller nation, say the West Indies, might earn in an entire year playing for their country. It's not just a good payday, it's life-changing money. So really, is it any surprise what's happening? We're seeing huge names, guys like Trent Bolt from New Zealand and Andre Russell from the West Indies, actually turning down their national contracts so they can be free to play in T20 leagues. And you can't really blame them. For many, it's not about choosing club over country, it's about choosing financial security for their families, a choice the system is practically forcing them to make. So, where does that leave us? What does all of this add up to? Well, the bottom line is this. The IPL, with that four-foreigner rule at its core, is no longer just another tournament. It has fundamentally and probably permanently reshaped the entire sport. When you really step back and look at the whole picture, you see this double-edged sword. The gains are massive. You can't deny them. It's a global melting pot for skills, it's a launchpad for new stars, and it's brought an insane amount of money into the game. But the pains are just as sharp. You've got the club versus country tug of war, schedules that are an absolute mess, and a brain drain from smaller countries that's shifting the balance of power in cricket. You know, I think we're past the point of asking if the IPL is good or bad for cricket. That ship has sailed. The reality is, its success has completely rewritten the rules of the game, both financially and in terms of power. Cricket today is a sport with two suns in its sky, traditional international crickets and the IPL. And so that leaves us with the one massive lingering question. Is all of this powerful, glamorous, money-making machine, is it simply the natural evolution of cricket for the modern world? Or is its powerful gravity actually a threat to the soul of the sport, to the international game that it was all built on? Honestly, the final chapter of that story is still being written, right now, as we watch.